And I would like to invite Kashif to recite few verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah and thank you. On behalf of the Southern Region Committee of ICAP, I would like to welcome everyone in this seminar, those who have reached, those who are on their way and expected to be here. Some people are stuck up in the some emergency, especially our session chairman, but he has given his consent to start the seminar. He'll be joining us very shortly. For today's seminar, we have invited two very eminent speakers. They don't need any introduction. They are very well known among the community of chartered accountants, not only the community of chartered accountants, but I believe that the public at large. The first speaker of this seminar is Mr. Fawad Hashmi. Fawad Hashmi is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. He has over 40 years of experience in public accounting and diversified business and commercial ventures in banking, sales and marketing, information technology, and fund management. He was a partner with A.F. Ferguson and Company, and he served many other companies and banks at the same time in past. From corporate governance perspective, he has served as a non-executive director on the boards of Crescent Commercial Bank Limited, Clarion Pakistan Limited, National Refinery Limited, Pakistan Security Printing Corporation, and Pakistan Cables Limited, and is currently on the board of International Industries Limited, where he is additionally chairman of its audit committee. Mr. Hashmi now heads the Pakistan Institute of Corporate Governors, and in this seminar, Hashmi Saab is going to share with us a comparative analysis between the Code of Corporate Governors in 2002 and in 2012. So, gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Hashmi for his presentation on this comparative analysis.
Invited back to the institute. I'm a member like all of you and I don't get to come here often enough, so when it was suggested to me that I come and make a presentation, then it was just natural that I take up this privilege. The topic that I'm going to talk to you about is one that I have been quite busily engaged with for the past almost 5 years. I joined the Institute of Corporate Governance in September 2007, and one of the first tasks that I inherited was a resolution by the board of the institute which said that they shall be constituted a task force for review of the Code of Corporate Governance 2002. Now, your institute was the prime mover in implementing the Code of Corporate Governance in 2002. So, it was only appropriate that the board should identify as a chairman of the task force one of our very senior members, Mr. Ibrahim Sidat. So, he was identified as a chairman of the task force, and it was entirely up to him to determine who he wished to bring on board. My institute, the Institute of Corporate Governance, had nominated that I should be part of the task force, and between Ibrahim Saab and myself, we were able to put together a team of people who over the next almost 2 years met every month and gave pro bono services to review the Code of Corporate Governance. Now, the reason I am just trying to give this background to you is that when we compare the Code of 2002 with the Code of 2012, you must understand the environment with which we were going through. It had been almost 5 years since the code had been implemented, and a survey that was carried out in 2007 of board practices, it came up with the very clear response that as far as compliance was concerned, there was over 90% compliance. There were no issues about compliance. But having said that, was compliance enough? So one of the first tasks which the group got together was to take a look at what were the current practices prevailing all around the world. More importantly, the practices which were prevailing in the region, and equally more importantly, the practices that were prevailing in those economies where the profile of the shareholding was very much similar to the profile of shareholding that existed in Pakistan, which is that there was always one single large shareholding block, whether it was of the family, or it was of the state, or it was of the multinational. Invariably, the percentage of shareholding ranged anything up to 85%, in some cases 90%, leaving very little float which was available with the public. So in that background, and a company law which said that for election of directors, the cumulative system of voting had to be followed, which meant that to elect a director, you, let us say the board size was determined as 10, and there were 10 people to be elected. Each shareholder got 1 vote times the number of seats, which was 10. And you could decide to put the entire 10 votes to any one director or split them up. So invariably, if you had a majority shareholding and you wanted to effectively control all the board positions, it is relatively easy to do so. So from a compliance perspective, whatever the code said, it was very easy for any company to comply. So what did we want to do? We wanted to move from compliance to conformance, which basically is that, as against ticking the box, we wanted to make sure that the actual implementation and the way things were happening were very much going